Call it high mileage fashion for the long haul. A businesswoman comes up with an accessory you may never tire of. Kathy Walsh has more.
Dozens of dirty inner tubes. They come from trucks and tractors. Each has about 60,000 miles on it. Now, it's time to reinvent the wheel. In a back room in Boulder, the tubes are cut and machine washed, dried and buffed. All remnants of the road are removed to get this rubber ready for resale. It's cutting patterns to eventually become purses.
We have handbags and book bags and accessories like belts and wallets.
Heather English, a hardcore vegetarian, invented English retreads while floating on an inner tube.
It was out of necessity, really. Just needed a non-leather handbag. I'm really into recycling, and so just threw one together.
That inner tube turned into Heather's first bag.
That's how it was born.
In 7 years, it's made tracks. Heather has her retired wall and keeps designing new products. She guarantees they'll keep on trucking, but if you need a tune-up, just send the item back. You can even buy a spare. Heather is proud that her bags make a high fashion statement with a low impact on the environment.
I feel like we're doing a really good thing for the world.
I love it. Stay with us. News Channel 7 at 6 with Tom and Amy starts now.
A 12-year-old girl fights off her would-be abductor. Hear her advice to other girls.
Robbers picked the wrong store owner. How a fed-up clerk fired off a powerful message to crooks.
A car flip sending 5 students to the hospital, the decision that may have saved their lives.
Was their vote for Obama a sinful act? Why an upstate priest is telling some church they must now repent.
And a father's 14-year-old search ends in a tragedy. A 7 on Your Side investigation into his son's death.
Live from the News Center in high definition, this is News Channel 7 on your side at 6.
Mad and got out of the truck and took me by my ribs and pushed me down.
A 12-year-old girl fights off her abductor, and neighbors say they've seen the man driving through their streets before. We thank you for being with us. A young girl remembers her mother's advice and fights back, sending her abductor limping away.
Deputies say that girl was walking to the bus stop Monday morning when a man in a red truck jumped out and pushed her to the ground. This all happened on the corner of Edison Street and Webster Street in Marietta. That's in Greenville County. It's the latest tonight in the 7 on Your Side Crime Tracker Alert. And News Channel 7's Elizabeth Owens is live from that neighborhood tonight, where I'm sure this is the talk of the neighborhood, Liz.
Very true, Amy. Well, 12-year-old Morgan West used to walk the street to her bus stop every day alone, but not anymore.
I was like right there. I walk on the edge and he was like right here, kind of in the middle.
As she retraces her steps to the bus stop, 12-year-old Morgan West stays close to her mother's side.
I am so proud of her. She is an amazing child.
Always a mama's girl, but up until Monday, Glenda Hill had no idea how much her daughter really listened to her words.
He was driving kind of slow. I think it was for the stop sign. And then he asked me to get in the truck, and I said no.
The 7th grader was walking towards her bus stop when a man in a red truck kept asking her questions.
He said we'd go somewhere fun. I said no again.
That's when Morgan says the man started to scare her.
But he got mad and got out of the truck and took me by my ribs and pushed me down.
With the stranger on top of her, the remembered what her mama always told her: kick him where it hurts.
He tried to pull my ankles and I went dead weight on him because I'm heavy. And then I kicked him in the private part, so then I ran.
And she ran as fast as she could all the way home to her mom.
Oh my God, what did he do to her?
Morgan says the man, who she described in detail to a sketch artist, only bruised her ribs and broke her glasses.
What went through your mind when he did that?
I was like, gosh, he's a mean person.
Glenda says her daughter's would-be abductor better hope deputies get their hands on him.
Truthfully, I'd like to hang him up somewhere.
Before she does.
And several neighbors say they've seen the man in the sketch driving through their streets. They just don't know who he is or where he lives, but until investigators catch him, they say they'll be keeping a close eye on this neighborhood. For now, we're live in Greenville County. Elizabeth Owens, News Channel 7.
Well, Morgan is one smart and brave little girl. Thanks. Well, this is the sketch. Take a good look at this. Deputies say it's a white man in his 50s wearing a blue shirt with tennis shoes who's their suspect. He was driving a red truck, possibly a Ford Ranger. If you have any information, contact Crime Stoppers at 23 Crime. So what should you tell your child to do if somebody tries to take them? Well, we've been digging to get you answers on this. The experts say if your child can get away, they should run to a safe place. If not, though, the key to is avoid being taken to any second location. So if your child, say, winds up in a car, tell them not to be afraid to grab the steering wheel or even beep the horn trying to make a scene. An expert joins me for a live blog to take your questions about crime dangers. That's coming up right after the show at 6:30 on WSPA.com.
A follow-up to a story we had for you last night at 11. A store clerk fights back, shooting at a masked man he says tried to rob him in the 7 on Your Side Crime Tracker alert. Anderson County deputies say this happened at the Sunoco store near the intersection of Highway 76 and Millwee Creek Road in the Sandy Springs community. This is the second time Befeqadu has had a gun pulled on him. The first was in a string of armed robberies that happened back in July. News Channel 7 was the first to talk to Befeqadu last night. He said the previous robbery was why he was prepared with a gun this time and fired a warning shot to scare the robber off. Today he was back at work saying he won't be scared by what he calls acts of terrorism.
But they just want to rob. They want to kill. This needs to stop. That's just what it is. The message I want to, hopefully convey is they can get something more than what they wanted.
And if you have any information on this case, you can call Crime Stoppers at 231-STOP.
A 7 on Your Side news alert right now. We have just learned about some major layoffs at a local university. Just moments ago, we were told that Bob Jones announced it's going to be laying off about 50 workers over the next few months. These layoffs will be in departments including food services, university press, and marketing. A university spokesperson says students shouldn't be affected by these layoffs. Bob Jones is just the latest area unit to take cost-cutting measures. Narrowly escaping disaster, a car flipping several times, sending 5 high school students to the hospital, and tonight we've learned they all survived. The crash happened just before noon on Hampton Road near Midway Road in Anderson County. The Highway Patrol says that the driver was going 20 miles over the speed limit and lost control of the car on some wet roads. The car hit a tree and flipped several times before landing on the roof like you see here. The Wren High School principal says the students are going to be okay. They were treated at the hospital for some cuts and bruises. Troopers say all 5 were wearing their seatbelts.
One of Greenville County's most active deputies is fired for conduct unbecoming of an officer. You've seen Deputy Jason Hinkle in action. He was one of the men who chased down and caught fugitive Johnny Moore back in December 2006. It was exclusive video from Air 7. Moore had escaped from Edgefield Prison and was on the run for days. 26-year-old Deputy Hinkle recently became a member of the dog team and was assigned K-9 Smeris. He worked for the sheriff's office for 3 years. No word on why he was fired, but deputies tell us this happened off duty and that he will not be charged.
A man accused of holding his family captive for years in a home filled with bugs and garbage is indicted on 11 charges. 36-year-old Daniel Thurmond is charged with false imprisonment, rape, and cruelty to children. We first told you investigators were called to the home in Livonia, Georgia, back in August. They found bugs, rotting trash, moldy mattresses. Georgia's Office of the Child Advocate says that Thurman's previous landlord actually reported this family before, saying that his children were never seen playing outside and neighbors were getting concerned. Well, tonight Thurmond is still behind bars. And next on News Channel 7 at 6.
Should your religious leader go with you into the voting booth? One upstate church finds out the answer may be yes. Why a priest is asking those who voted for Obama to repent.
Plus, the son he never knew is now dead. And now an upstate father wants to know if DSS could have done more to protect him. Still ahead, a 7 on Your Side investigation into this case.
And it's been fairly quiet this afternoon, but more rain and even some thunderstorms are coming back. Find out when in my live Viper forecast coming up.
Can a decision in the voting booth affect your status with God? A Greenville priest says yes, because he says a vote for Obama supports abortion. Now he's asking his parishioners who voted for Obama to repent for that decision. Kristen Nastasia has the story.
Majestic, beautiful, and full of history. And Father J. Scott Newman says the teachings here at St. Mary's,
we cannot leave our faith outside the voting booth,
mean Catholics should not have supported Barack Obama because of his pro-choice stance on abortion.
Because he supports all of that, it was absolutely inconceivable that a Catholic could say, I can vote for this otherwise extraordinary man and hope that the consequence won't be a widening of the abortion